Amazon have just announced that New World is going to be delayed until the 28th of September, and I'm sure your first reaction is probably one of disappointment, and I must say that is the feeling that I currently share. So this was posted on Twitter approximately 10-15 minutes ago, and yeah, we'll just have a quick read of that, and then we'll talk about, you know, our feelings afterwards. So I'm not going to read the whole statement for you. Obviously, if you want to, you can just check it out for yourself. But they talk about how, you know, the game was one of the most watched games on Twitch, one of the most played games on Steam, and they're very happy with all the feedback and enthusiasm, etc. They then say, we're going to take a few extra weeks to smash bugs, which is an interesting way of of dealing with bugs, I guess. They should have said it's like swat at them. Improve stability, polish the game, and the new global launch is the September 28th. 2021, of course. Obviously, they say this is not an easy decision, and they know that they've actually they've changed the date a few times before. That's something they're well aware of, and they know it can be disappointing to wait longer. But yeah, that's the information. But I personally feel like ultimately it's probably for the best. You know, I can't remember the famous quote, but like a bad game is bad forever, but a good game is good forever. That is really not the quote, but basically a bad launch can really mess up your game. And if they release a buggy game and that's when the most eyeballs are on your game and people get a bit unhappy with it because maybe the servers aren't stable, maybe there's too many glitches and stuff like that, that can really cause massive problems long term, even though a game might be good in a couple of months, if that makes sense. I think like the Star Wars game maybe had like a bad launch, and then ultimately that was fixed. I'm not going to say Final Fantasy 14 because that was a whole different kettle of fish, but really a bad launch can really turn off a player base like really dramatically. And, you know, people were a bit more forgiving because of the beta, you know, yeah, they had 200,000 people, but people were like, oh, it's beta, I'm not going to really dwell on it too much. But if the beta was launch, the feedback would have been strongly different. People would have been very unhappy with that if that was launch. So taking a few extra weeks, which I think it's like literally a full month, basically 4 weeks, is probably a good thing. Now, on a personal note, I have to go into a little bit of like panic mode because I'd booked off like 6-7 days of work specifically to play the game when it first launched. Now I'm going to have to see if I can, you know, move those days and stuff like that. So on a personal note, I'm a little bit disappointed. On a YouTube note, obviously I'm disappointed because I think my channel will gain views when the game comes out because I've made a few little updates and stuff like that. So personally disappointed, but I think for the long-term longevity of this game, then delaying it is probably for the best. Let me know how you feel about it. I can appreciate that a lot of people will be disappointed. Hopefully they'll maybe manage to add maybe like a new weapon or something like that, just to give people a little bit of like, okay, well, we've been fixing bugs, but we've also managed to add this and maybe they can do that. But yeah, ultimately I appreciate that you guys are probably disappointed, but I think it's just for the best, really. Ultimately, if they think it's not ready, then it's not ready. Who are we to say that it is? So disappointing, understandable. And yeah, well, stick with me if you want to see the news. This is as fresh as it can get. Have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.